Hello and welcome to Business Live. Coming up, Securities and Exchange Commission assures investors of maximum protection as virtual asset bill comes into force. Also coming up, Ghanaian Cedi defies year-end trend, records best performance in 10 years. My name is Winston Takiwia. These and more coming up in this bulletin, but now let's bring you update on how commodities are priced across the world. And now to our first business story. In a significant boost to the local economy, the Ghanaian Cedi is entering the final days of 2025 on its strongest footing in 10 years. There is more in this report.
The cedi has defied traditional seasonal trends of end-of-year depreciation, marking a dramatic turnaround that is providing much-needed relief to the nation's private sector. For decades, the final quarter in Ghana has typically been characterized by a forex squeeze as importers scramble for dollars to stock shelves for the festive season. However, 2025 has seen a reversal of this pattern. Market data reveals that the local currency has not only held its ground, but has actively clawed back value against major global benchmarks. The scale of the cedi's recovery is most evident when compared to the turbulent close of the previous year. Last week, the interbank market opened with the dollar at 11 cedis 50 pesos and the pound at 15 cedis 36 pesos and the euro at 13 cedis 47 pesos.
Now, away from that, the Securities and Exchange Commission has assured that the passage of the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill will mark a major step toward the regulation of virtual asset and digital finance activities in the country. The following report has more.
In a press statement, the Securities and Exchange Commission said the new law establishes a comprehensive legal and regulatory framework to govern virtual assets and the operations of the virtual asset service providers in Ghana, with the overarching objective of ensuring investor protection and safeguarding market integrity. According to the SEC, the passage of the bill aligns with its statutory mandate to regulate and promote the development of an efficient, fair, and transparent securities market. SEC emphasized that the growing use of virtual assets makes it necessary to introduce clear rules that protect investors while supporting innovation within the financial system. Under the new law, regulatory oversight of virtual asset activities will be shared among key institutions, including the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Bank of Ghana, and any other regulatory authority designated by the Minister of Finance. All individuals and entities engaged in virtual asset activities will be required to obtain licenses or be officially registered with either the SEC or the Bank of Ghana, depending on the nature of the operations. The SEC announced that in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, it will issue detailed guidelines and other regulatory instruments to operationalize the Act and provide clarity for market operators.
Joining me in studio is the Deputy Director General at the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mensah Thompson, to throw more light on this bill. Now, what does the passage of this bill practically change for Ghana virtual asset and crypto market? And good to have you in studio as well.
Yes, many thanks for having me, Winston.
So basically, what does it change in the crypto market and asset, virtual asset sector, basically?
Well, thank you very much. A very good afternoon to our cherished viewers and listeners as well. This, for the Securities and Exchange Commission and Bank of Ghana, It's been a long, time in the making. Before we did that, we decided to develop the law. Some work was done to look at Ghana's exposure to crypto assets. And we realized that just last year alone,
Yes.
crypto transactions in and out of Ghana was about $6 billion, just last year alone. And this year alone, as at November, crypto asset transactions in and out of the country has crossed the $10 billion mark, just in a single year. And so we realized that the country was exposed to cryptocurrency. Now the question arose on whether to ban cryptocurrency or to come up with a legal and regulatory framework to allow crypto usage and applications in a transparent and proper manner that will not affect financial stability. And so after serious consideration, Ghana decided to adopt the latter approach of coming up with a legal and regulatory framework which will, if you were, guide on how cryptocurrencies will be used and applied in our system. Now, this bill has seen a lot of consultations. In fact, if you're looking at a bill that has seen widespread consultation, perhaps this is one of the most consultative bill Parliament has ever passed, right from the drafting processes.
Indeed.
Every operator, every stakeholder, every including even the Finance Committee, who makes significant input towards the passage of the bill, even at the drafting stage, because we did a pre-laying engagement with them. And let me use this opportunity to thank the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Honorable Isaac Adongo, the ranking member, Honorable Amin Anta, and his team, who were also very instrumental, and you could see why the bill received bipartisan support when it went to the House. We want to thank them for the support that they lent to us, the guidance in terms of getting this bill to see the light of day.
Great. I want to understand, from that perspective, what does the bill encapsulate and who basically will be licensed to operate? How does it work?
So the bill is going to license, service providers and also the asset itself. So it's going to be an activity-based regulation and licensing. Some of the activities will require licensing, some will require just a simple registration. Some will also require a sandbox approach. So we put you in a sandbox, that is for the innovative products. But on the SEC side, the SEC regulates, per the Securities Industries Act, anything securities. So anything securities in the virtual asset space will be handled by the SEC. The Bank of Ghana will handle the wallet service provision, the lending and borrowing, the the conversion of the crypto assets to fiat currency and what have you. The Bank of Ghana will handle that, but the SEC will mainly handle the tokenization, the exchanges, the trading platforms, which is the settlement and clearing platforms, the mining and validation, the advocacy. So, like we reiterated, there's going to be clear rules on advocacy. Because of how volatile cryptocurrency is, we're not going to allow people to be able to sit on TV and be able to predict or make analysis or broadcast, just like I've seen videos of even some pastors who are predicting that this coin will go up. No, that is not going to be allowed under the Act. If you want to be an advocate in the crypto asset space, there are rules which you must follow.
So speaking about the rules, how does this protect investors from certain misaligned projections, like you just mentioned, some prophecy-related crypto assets that possibly they find the dynamics quite changing and maybe quite prideful in terms of investment?
Well, so the virtual asset law is not going to sit in isolation. It's going to work within the general framework of securities and how we protect investors. And the Securities Industries Act, which is our enabling act, provide a clear guidelines on how investors should be protected within the financial system. And so that is going to be our guidance in terms of, because under the Securities Industries Act, you cannot give investment advice if you are not licensed by the SEC. So it's the same thing with crypto asset. You can't give investment advice to people to go and buy a coin or invest in a crypto asset if you are not licensed but we're not going to do licensing. We're going to do a simple registration. We're going to guide them so that they understand the rules on even how to go about the advocacy. There are lines you don't cross. You give clear guidelines, what the disclaimers should be, clearly stated, especially when you are giving some of these advices. We're going to spell out all these details in our guidelines once the guidelines is published. The virtual asset space is going to provide enormous opportunities. It's going to provide very strong stability for our currency. I just told your story about our currency currently trading as one of its best times.
Yes.
If anybody thinks this is just a 9-day wonder, they should think again. Because with the introduction of virtual asset, the currency is going to become even more stronger. Because a lot of our import-dependent and import-driven inflationary, how do we call it? The import-driven inflation of exchange rates are going to go down. Because we have a lot of suppliers who's out in China, elsewhere, who accept virtual assets, who accept crypto as form of payment. So with your CD, you can convert your CD to buy crypto here and directly transfer the crypto to a supplier in China or elsewhere when you want to buy your product. And so a lot of our import pressures are going to go down, especially in the area of petroleum trading and what have you. And so we're encouraging operators, and we want to thank, even the big exchanges who have been very supportive, who have expressed, proper interest in coming into our system to ensure that, the space is sanitized, and it's only people who have the capacity to play in that space to provide the services, and people who will be able to meet our licensing requirement are able to operate in that space. There's going to be onboarding rules and KYC standards that are going to be implemented that is not going to allow anybody to be able to launder money through
in more simplistic
virtual
terms,
assets.
Those who are already in the crypto market but have not really been onboarded, is there a more simplistic way of bringing them on board, and what channels is quite available for them to come on?
So let's be clear. If you're somebody who just buy crypto, use crypto for trading, you don't need any license to do that. It is the service providers who need licensing. And again, also some products that are going to be introduced into the markets, the activity is what require licensing. The general public who want to invest in some of these things don't need a licensing to do that. So all we're saying is that now the thing is legal. You can do business with it. But remember that the SEC will have full visibility over what is happening in the crypto space. And so for those who are using crypto to commit crimes, for those who are laundering money through the crypto space, will have real visibility and be able to flag out all those transactions and be able to block those transactions and investigate and arrest people and all that. And so we're going to deploy that capability. But the service providers would then now have to come and say, okay, we provide service in this space, and so what are the guidelines in terms of licensing? So we'll tell them what the minimum capital requirements are, what type of company will be licensed to provide a particular service, what sort of directors, top managerial levels, what sort of corporate governance structure you need to put in place. It's going to be an organized, properly set up institutions that will be licensed to provide these virtual asset services, and not just anybody who gets.
So we are looking to an economy where now value of goods and services within the domestic frame is coming down via cryptocurrency. Is that what, in simplistic terms, it means?
Yes, and see, if you see where the world is going,
yes,
the world is moving towards decentralized financing, where people have control over their money. And that's what really cryptocurrency is about. It's about people having control over their money. So now the centralized system where money sits in the bank. So if you need your money, you have to go talk to your bank, and your bank will say, okay, you write a check, and then the bank will withdraw. Sometimes you go to your bank says network is down, they can't withdraw money for you. For virtual assets, you have full control over your money, and it's sitting on with you. You decide what to do with it. And people want to have that power to do whatever they want with their hard-earned money. And so for the next few years, that's where the world is moving towards. And especially in the area of tokenization, we've seen a number of innovative products that are going to come up. Recently, we are looking at some applications by people who want to tokenize land and put it on a blockchain, trade it, and raise money to build a city. That's innovative. So people will be able to tokenize real world asset and other things to raise capital, to build infrastructure, to build roads. So it's an area that even government can benefit from to raise capital. But it has to be done in a properly regulated framework where we have full visibility on what is happening so we can protect financial stability.
Going into next year, now that the bill has been assented, what should we be looking forward to from the Securities and Exchange Commission?
I think the most important things are the guidelines on licensing and the application of virtual assets, which will be issued. So if you look at the list of activities that were listed in our press statement, there's going to be guidelines on how they are going to be licensed and how the reporting standards, the KYC and onboarding requirements, and all the monitoring rules, everything will be set up in the guidelines. Then sensitization, we'll do a number of sensitization for our market operators and for people. But most importantly, we're also going to do a lot of public education. So the central bank is coming up with the National Virtual Asset Literacy Program. It's a program which is designed to break the concept of virtual asset down for everybody to understand. And I tell you, if you understand the concept of mobile money, virtual assets shouldn't be difficult for you to understand. And so, I mean, a lot of training and education will be done. But we're also going to do some sensitization programs for the judiciary, because once it's legal, you will have cases on virtual asset going to court. And so the judges must clearly understand what this is and how to adjudicate.
Great. Now, before we go, I just want to get your thoughts on, certainly it's been an interesting year for SEC. Any updates on those who are currently pleading for more information on the locked up funds?
Winston,
yes.
I beg you, we came to talk about virtual assets.
Yes.
Why is it that everywhere SEC goes?
Oh, certainly, because this is an institution that certainly has the right information.
We'll ask them to exercise patience. Government have demonstrated that it has its commitment to complete the bailout program. The challenge we have is that government has its own pressures in terms of fiscal space to be able to do some of the things it wants to do. We are currently working with the receivers and the liquidators of these companies to see how much has been realized from the asset of these companies. Then we can have a proper, we can take a proper decision on how to deal with those whose funds are locked up going forward. And so don't worry, next year we'll give you a clear update on what the SEC is going to do and how we intend to help you get your money. We haven't forgotten about you. Please be patient. We'll pick up the signals for demonstrations here and there. It's been a tough year for government. Government took over, inherited an economy, inherited some liabilities and pressures, and government has its own programs as well. And so, I mean, there's a lot of competing interests in terms of revenue allocation. And so we need to be able to rationalize the revenue properly so that we're able to do the same things that we do, but also meet the liabilities that we inherited, which are legacy issues.
Mr. Thompson,
so please be patient.
They will indeed be patient.
You'll be sorted out. Be patient.
All right, everybody will be sorted out before the close of the year, or hopefully next year. Thank you so much. Mr. Thompson is the Deputy Director at the Securities and Exchange Commission, and he's been giving us updates on the virtual asset, and certainly, hopefully next year, some of this local funds information will be propped up. And we have more business update for you right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business Live. My name is Winston Taki, and now to more business updates. The Ghana Revenue Authority has assured that small taxpayers and medium enterprises stand to have more benefit from the new tax reform. According to the GRA, this is due to the recoupling of some levies and abolishment of the flat rate scheme. Speaking to Joy Business on the reform, which has been approved by implementation from 1st January 2026, Commissioner for Domestic Tax Revenue Division, Dr. Martin Kabil Yamburiga, explains that taxpayers will be paying lesser amount as compared to the previous law.
So to the taxpayer, it is a benefit because prior to the new law, the GET fund and the National Health Insurance were decoupled. So what it means is that before you apply the VAT rate of 15%, you have to include the GET fund of 2.5 and the National Health Insurance Label of 2.5 before applying the VAT. So that would have given you a higher effective VAT rate. But we have recoupled it. That is to say that we have brought it back to where it was before. That means that the base on which the VAT will be calculated is the same base that you will now be calculating the GET fund and the National Health Insurance Levy. So let's say if we take the base as 100, the GET fund of 2.5 will be calculated on the 100, the National Health Insurance Levy of 2.5 will also be calculated on the 100, and the VAT will also be calculated on the 100. So what it implies is that the effective VAT rate will be lower than what it used to be. So it means that taxpayers ordinarily will be having to pay less than what they previously paid.
Meanwhile, the GRA believes that the new changes to the value-added tax law will help boost compliance, as many of the bottlenecks have been taken away from the law.
Very positive that it will drive compliance. Because one of the issues that people complained about the old law was the fact that there was a cascading effect in terms of the levies because it was inbuilt into the cost of the item. But now that taxpayers are allowed to claim it, then that cascading effect is no longer there. And therefore, people will now be more willing to comply in that whatever VAT that you pay, once you are not a final consumer, you have the opportunity to claim it. And therefore, it is not a cost to you. Unlike the previous, where those were part of your cost, now it is no longer part of your cost, and therefore you can claim it. So our expectation is that we are going to have more people complying.
That'll be all for business here on Business Live. My name is Winston Taki. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our program. And at 6 p.m., we'll be bringing you a premiere of a preview, basically, of what happened in 2025. And MFI, that you'll be hosting, certainly with Samoa, and all the crew will be here bringing you up to date. And make sure you join the conversation online on Facebook and across all our social media handles. Have a good business day. Bye-bye.